might say my first name.
Hi, America Found My Phone. Welcome to another video. Today we are diving into Carrie Lowell by Sufjan Stevens. This is an album I've been pretty heavily requested to react to, especially after some sad albums that I reacted to, including A Crow Looked at Me from Mount Erie, as well as The Glow Part 2 from The Microphones. And you'll apparently find it entertaining when I listen to devastatingly sad music. So today we're continuing the tradition with Carrie Lowell, which is an album about Sufjan's mother passing away and then his relationship with her second husband, or his stepfather. And so, yeah, it's gonna be some deep stuff, some serious stuff. If any of that stuff seems like that would be a little too sensitive for you, then I totally understand. I'll see you in the next video. I also don't know if I want to be here, but we're gonna figure it out together. I have heard some of Sufjan's stuff. It's been a while, but I knew he did the whole Illinois album, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm excited to see what some of his more introspective and personal works sound like. Thank you for requesting this video, and anyway, let's get into it. Track number 1, Death with Dignity. Ooh, this guitar is beautiful. But I'm afraid to be near you. Somewhere in the desert there's a forest. I lost my strength completely. Ooh, that startled me. A friend is a friend. We all know how this will end. What is that song you sing for the dead? Well, I've got nothing to prove. Ooh. Piano now. This song gets even more gorgeous. I forgive you, mother, I hear you. Every road leads to an end. You'll never see us again. You'll never see us again. Dang. Oh my gosh, so we're gonna have a little choir moment. So that was Death with Dignity, and what a way to start this album. This song was gorgeous, and even though my roommate is definitely cooking right now, this definitely took me off to a different space. I feel lighter, even though it is a very depressing song. I really like what I did with my last reaction, which was to Dance Fever by Florence and the Machine, and not looking up the lyrics, because I think that really distracts from the flow of the album, and I really just want to glean what I can glean. It really worked before, I think it'll work now. And this song really starts the album in the note of his mother's passing. He's saying, you'll never see us again. Every road leads to an end. He doesn't know where to begin. He's dealing with the enormous weight of telling the story and how much this person means to him. And that story is ginormous, and it takes so many looping turns, and there might be complicated parts of that relationship. I don't really know his personal relationship yet. I'm hoping to find out more on this record. But the song was very beautiful. You start with guitar and then you move into piano, which I always think that piano is gonna hit me more emotionally, and it does. And when that came in, it was the perfect part for that. And in some ways it was light. I guess it is Death with Dignity, so it's not like it's sudden. I don't know if it's sudden. I don't know what happened with his mom, but you can tell he has great care and compassion. It is not in the same way The Crow Looked at Me, in which it's immediate, I'm dealing with a grief. This feels a little more polished and starts this album that is probably going to be very sad on a relatively lighter note. The guitar and piano are both, again, beautiful. I am a little sad because he says you'll never see us again, which means either he just means that only in physical space, or that he doesn't believe in an afterlife in which he would see her again. And so, yeah, that's a lot to take in. Definitely a heavy weight, just the stuff that he has had to endure and is now going to share with us. But I'm ready to see this journey. I have my tea ready, I have a candle burning. We're really ready for this mood, and I'm excited to experience it with you. As much as excitement I can actually have towards an album like this. Track number 2 is Should Have Known Better. Okay, bringing more of those guitars in. Should have wrote a letter. I never trust my feelings. When I was three, maybe four. This gives me Willow energy. Three, free to explore. You've evolved. Oh, that effect sounds almost like fireflies. I should have known better. Nothing can be changed. Oh, explaining what I feel through a letter. No reason to live. Ooh, that's a sudden shift. Well, this is rather menacing. So I should have known better, and that was a very pretty song. Again, we continue the guitar from our first song, Death with Dignity. And he talks about how he should have wrote a letter, talk about his feelings. And I think this is really about him not really getting the time, or him not giving himself the time or the effort to properly grieve the death of his mother. And I like that he's talking about that, because I think too often men, or people who are socialized as men in our society, are told to stay strong and not be emotional during really anything. And then when something horrible and tragic like a death in the family happens, it's really hard to completely do a 180, or if you do a 180, people are always surprised to see that you cry about these things because you don't show emotion other times. And I think that just goes back to this toxic masculinity. Sexism and misogyny hurts everyone, so let's stop that. I appreciate him sharing that he should have known better, and that while he didn't really take that time and energy to properly grieve, him admitting that in this song and saying retrospectively he wishes he had, that tells a lot of listeners, such as myself, that we should take that time and that energy to properly grieve. I also really like the contrast in this song and so far on this album of this dark topics being talked about with very light production. The production is very sparse, but it's very beautiful and it's very light. He also mentions his niece. His brother had a daughter, and she is just a source of illumination. And so we're literally getting lightness here, even though there's this darkness of the passing of his mother. There's also this feeling of life moving on, that even though there is one life ending, another life is just beginning. It's very pretty, and I definitely have to sit with this one. Track number 3 is All of Me Wants All of You. Isn't that a John Legend lyric? Okay, more guitar. I see he has a brand. You checked your text while I'm... Now all of me thinks less of you. Under the she, I see your arousal. But in this light, you look like Poseidon. What? I'm just a ghost you walk right through. All of me wants all of you. So that was All of Me Wants All of You. And that was an interesting one. I think we shifted gears a little bit, because I think he's talking about a lover or a former lover, because it doesn't seem like all of him is really still wanting all of them. That person is checking their texts while he is making sure he's good. And then when he notices that they're in some sort of mood, it doesn't turn out good. And so all of this is making him think less of that person. This may have to do with his grieving process and this fallout that happens post his mother's death, where he realizes that this other person is not the one for him, that he starts to feel the more gravity of life. That's what I have to think. I know that the title is like All of Me Wants All of You, but I don't think that that person's willing to give all of themselves to him. I think they don't sound like a match in this case. This is definitely a little bit of a change of pace. I really thought it would be mainly about familial relationships rather than a romantic or intimate relationship. When he said, I was shocked. Track number 4 is Drawn to the Blood. Okay. I like this strumming pattern. It sounds nice. I'm drawn to the blood. Well, we wasted no time getting there. How did this happen? The death or something else? My lover caught me off guard. Also, there's a sweet cinnamon spice tea, in case you are interested. What did I do to deserve this? Delilah, avenge my grief. This is some religious reference I do not understand. Oh, we again have a strike, a different sound. I could see in headphones feeling just surrounded by this sound, engulfed in it. So that was Drawn to the Blood, and I think this song is easy to understand. I'm not quite sure, but just based on the questions we get, how did this happen? What did I do to deserve this? Those types of questions. It seems like he's doubting religion and God and a higher being, and I think that makes sense. I think that happens commonly when you experience tragedy. It has happened to me when I've experienced tragedy. I definitely question certain values and beliefs I may have held before in light of new information. I would say the most obvious likely cause is the death of his mother, but he did say before that every road comes to an end. So while I know he's still definitely grieving the process, it seems like he wouldn't pity himself or be confused about it if he really did feel that way. Though that song could definitely have been written after all the other songs have been written, and then we just kind of have a foreshadowing feeling. This is the feeling he'll have after he's gone through most of the rest of this grief. I could see on a potential offshoot note of him and his lover breaking up. I think I heard the use of the word lover in that song, so I could see that being the case. I don't know if he would compare that relationship to this biblical illusion and the what did I do to deserve this, but I guess it makes more sense within the context of the album because we just went from All of Me Wants All of You. It feels like, oh, maybe he's confused on why this breakup or them breaking apart or drifting apart happened right after that death, because that's a lot. Breaking up with someone in mid dealing with loss, yikes. Very emotionally charged things. Don't start or end a relationship within near proximity to a loved one's passing. It's probably not the best idea for you, just letting you know. So it could be that, and I guess having recommended albums like The Glow Part 2 from Phil, the microphones, and how he eventually ends his character's life through this breakup metaphor, but it's also just getting attacked by sorrow about it. So I guess it's possible that that could be the case here. I don't know. I don't know enough of Sufjan's music to really say which is the case. So if you know which tragedy he's referring to, whether it's the breakup or if it's the grief for his mother, let me know. Track number 5 is Eugene.
From the lemon tree.
Something from the lemon tree. Ooh, I like lemons. lemon yogurt. Did that come from the lemons in the tree?
I just wanted to be near you.
I just wanted to be near you. That's complete contrast from Death with Dignity, right?
Couldn't quite say my first name.
The man who taught me to swim couldn't quite say my first name.
He called me Sufjan.
Oh, I think he called him a different name than Sufjan. Every time he trails off with a near you, it's like a brick. Admitting the best is behind me. Shoot. What's the point of singing songs if I'm never near you? Wow. So that was Eugene, and that was a sweet but super depressing song. Wow. That song's gonna make me cry even though I have absolutely nothing in common with Sufjan in this case. I am thankful that my two mothers are both still alive. I knocked on wood for that. And also they don't smoke. I don't have a dad, so we have different experiences here, but the nostalgia that this song brings, it's both the guitars and just the images he brings to mind. Wow. Captivated, very enthralled in that story, feel a lot of empathy, and oh, I'm gonna get emotional about it. I did slightly look up lyrics for this one, and that's just because I wanted to know what the swimming instructor, who couldn't pronounce his name, called him, and I knew when they said that, but I didn't hear it, and it's a Subaru, which I think is hilarious, just after the car. I think Sufjan also enjoyed that memory. I think that's why he included it in the song. But as a result, I also found out that the song's called Eugene, not after a person, but it's after the time he spent in Eugene, Oregon as a kid with his mom and also his stepfather, Lowell. So his stepfather has been in his life for a long time, which makes sense on why he's going to talk about a strong attachment to his stepfather. We have yet to really talk a ton about that, but I am excited to hear what Sufjan has to say about that. But yeah, this song was short, and I think it's probably the beginning of the end in terms of songs that will make me cry, because some of those lines are devastating. The admittance that the best days are behind him. What's the point of singing songs that I can't be near you? Oh, I'm scared for when certain roads in my life come to an end. I hope it's not for a while. Knocking on wood again. Track number 6, 4th of July. The tea is done, time to cry it out. Oh, I like the production in this. It's captivating.
It was night when you died.
It was night when you died. Shoo.
Raise you from the dead, oh could I?
What could I have said to raise you from the dead?
The 4th of July.
Oh shoot, did she die on the 4th of July?
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Oh, Sufjan.
Disguise like junior high.
Was it all a disguise like junior high? Well, dang, that's a different form of existentialism.
Did you get enough love, my little dove?
Did you get enough love?
Cry, say goodbye.
Should the body be cast before I say goodbye? I'm so sorry.
Funny, the 4th of July. We're all gonna die.
Jesus Christ. Not muffled vocals of we're all gonna die. Oh, you just gonna cut off like that? So that was 4th of July. Gosh. What is there to say about this song? I am dealing with the strong emotions of crying. If you've seen my other reactions to very sad music, you know I don't regularly cry on camera. It's just not something I really do. My tear ducts don't work that well. But, ooh, I get the sensations of crying often from these sad works, and it just is not present as much in my face. I think I might have a tear or two, but ooh, my like chest is like feeling just, oh my god, all this overwhelming sadness, because gosh, this song is sad. If you don't want a recap of the events of this song, just skip a minute. But gosh, he gets so real in this song. He talks about like seeing her in the hospital, and I think it was the 4th of July is when it happened, because he's imagining her saying these things to him about this experience of like, why are you crying? Didn't you get enough love? And all of this stuff about let's look at the moon. And gosh, that feeling of crying is keeping me from even speaking right. But what he learned from the 4th of July is that we're all gonna die, which, God, did I need that today? Absolutely not. God, this is so sad. Oh, I'm gonna need to call my mom after this reaction. Both of them, just to be clear. But yeah, I can't even imagine going to the hospital and then the hospital asking, do you want to say goodbye before we wrap up the body? That's horrible. I hope no one experiences that. I know people obviously experience that, but I wouldn't wish that on anyone. That sounds like a horrible experience to have. Now, I don't know the certain circumstances of his mom's passing. I don't know how sudden it was, but gosh, this left me in a wreck. I heard that he went on tour for this album. How do you go on tour for this album? If you are a big Sufjan fan and you went on that tour, is it just everyone outside or in a venue just bawling? Is that what that is? Because gosh, I don't think I want to go to a concert for that. I think I also saw on Sufjan Stevens' Spotify page that this is in his top 5 songs that are getting played regularly now. Are y'all okay? Are you okay? Is your mom doing okay? Are your parents doing okay? Are your lives going okay? Because gosh, ooh, that was so hauntingly beautiful. It was beautiful, but it was devastatingly sad. Devastatingly. It's a song that even if you didn't know what this project was inspired by, you could get a sense of it. And that's pretty palpable, it's pretty powerful. And gosh, you're gonna make me enter an episode. Track number 7 is The Only Thing.
Driving this car,
The only thing that keeps me from driving this car.
canyon at night.
Oh, Into the Canyon at Night. Oh, from ending it. Shoot.
Sign bury the dead where they're found.
Do I care if the survivors bury the dead where they're found?
Did you love me at all?
I wonder, did you love me at all? Of course she did.
Only a holiday in after dark.
Oh my God, Sufjan. You really didn't grieve properly.
Nothing else matters, I know.
Nothing else matters, I know.
How do I live with your ghost?
How do I live with your ghost?
Should I
Very important question.
I wanna save you from your sorrow.
I want to save you from your sorrow.
Any reason why I continue at all?
The only reason why I continue at all. What is that reason?
Hold to my hand till I drown.
Hold my hand until I drown.
Should I tear my heart out now?
Should I tear my heart out now? So that was The Only Thing, and this man doesn't let up on telling him about the tragedy that he has endured. The song is phrased in the only thing that keeps me from doing something super reckless and fatal is either nature or religion. He sees the stars one time. He sees the sea lion caves. He is comforted in some way by some religious passage or some story of the Bible. I, again, don't know much about religion too much, but I know that religion can be very comforting, and I'm never going to tell someone who's religious that their beliefs are invalid, especially when it comes to an afterlife or how they cope with someone's loss. If they're trying to infringe on people's rights, that's a different issue. But when it comes to how you see the world after you leave it, Yeah, I totally can see the comfort in that. And I do believe in an afterlife. Thank goodness for me. I think I'd be a lot more cynical and a lot more pessimistic and a lot more sad if I didn't. But that's just me. Again, not trying to push you in any particular direction. The song talks about some self destructive potential ways of ending one's life, whether it is driving into a canyon at night, full speed, or ending it in a bathtub of a Holiday Inn, or there's a lot. Tearing your own heart out. There's a lot. There's a lot. And wow. It is heavy. This one's not going to make me cry as much, but it's not going to make me stop feeling sad. And I'm going to feel even more concerned to Sufjan. Maybe part of the tour was everyone giving Sufjan a hug because I think he really needs it. Track number 8 is Carrie and Lowell, the album title. Oh, he's gonna sing their names. Climb on the mattress pad. Ooh. Another cut-off moment. Carrie surprised me. With what? Carrie, come home. Shall we ascend? I like that sound towards the end. So that was Carrie and Lowell, the title track. And I'm sorry, I could barely understand anything that Sufjan was saying. And in looking up the lyrics and just reading the lyrics, I didn't want to dive into all the analyses of it. I was still very confused. It sounded very pretty. I'm not knocking it, but I cannot tell you what the song is about and how it makes me feel. I mean, it is about Carrie and Lowell. I'm not going to say it's not about them, because it clearly is, but I really don't know what the story is. I think it's stuff of nostalgia for childhood and Sufjan experiencing the love that they both gave him, but beyond that, I really can't tell you. Track number 9 is John, My Beloved. Ooh, I like this faster pace a little bit. Stumbling words at the bar.
I read you for some kind of poem.
I read you for some kind of poem.
Can we pretend sweetly?
Can we pretend sweetly? This is an eyes closed type of song. In a manner of speaking, I'm dead. Icarus reference. Before the mystery ends, is that death? My tongue on your chest? Counting my cards down to 1. Oh, the way the song cuts out on dead. Wow. So it was John, My Beloved. And at first I was like, oh, we're going to have trouble understanding this. But I think I got the message towards the end. The song is, again, a very acoustic, light vocals. Seems like it's Sufjan's signature, at least on this project. And this song seems to be about him trying to reconcile with religion. He says, Jesus be near me. He's saying, Lord, hear my prayer. Seems like he's reaching much more out to religion and saying, hey, I want to make amends. I want to repent. I want to do all these things before I'm gone, because I want to have lived a life that I can look back on proudly. And I also want to be able to meet my mother, I assume, later. I think in this song, and I think in some previous songs before, like 4th of July, for example, he uses this device of having his mother, who's passed on, speak to him through his voice. He sings in his mother's perspective at some points. And I think that's very powerful, very palpable, makes me want to cry. But I think it's a really interesting device that he uses to tell more sides of this story rather than just his own. I'm going to assume that John in the song is him, just because his name's Sufjan Stevens. I assume maybe John is his Christian name. Again, if I mess up some terminology with Christianity, my apologies. I was not raised in a very fully Christian household. When you have two moms, it's a little hard for that to happen. But I can definitely get behind wanting to find comfort in faith. And I do find comfort in my spirituality, and that's very important to me. And I can see, obviously, then why it's important to other people as well. This definitely follows nicely with the chronology because we had Drawn to the Blood where he was like, what did I do to deserve this? And then in other songs, Nothing Else Matters. And now he is trying to figure out a way to live and contend in a way that allows him to, I don't know, find joy or at least tolerance in his life post his mother passing on. It's again a devastatingly sad piece. Track number 10, No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross. I'm going to assume that the song is connected to religion, but I guess we'll find out for sure. I feel like we've continued this guitar strumming from the beginning and now it's here. Like my mother, give wings to a stone. Get drunk to get laid. What are you talking about? I'll drive that stake through the center of my heart. Okay, you're gonna make it a vampire reference. I just remember that vampires are related to Christianity. Oh, I heard that. So that was No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross, and that was a song that goes right along the lines of The Only Thing in terms of documenting self-destructive behavior and how that behavior is how he gets closer, I guess, to feeling like her. I did have to look this one up because if there was a religious reference, I didn't want to fully miss it because I thought the song was purely religious, but it's not actually. Apparently, his mother was a bit of a wild child, for lack of a better term. She did a lot of self-destructive things, and he felt like as her son that he was also predisposed to those types of things. So he contemplated ending it. He contemplated just doing a ton of self-destructive things. And he's talking about that here. The driving the stake through the center of his heart is not even just a reference to being a vampire, but also a reference to drugs because of needles and driving them into your body. And wow, there's just a lot there. And that's one reason why it's probably good that I don't look up every lyric because, wow, there's a lot packed in here. That would take me a lot of time and it would take me a lot of emotional labor that I'm not sure I'm quite ready to put into tonight. But at the end, I think he is starting to find faith. I think this song and John My Beloved should switch in track list. I think No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross should go up a little higher. I think I might want to change the chronology personally a little bit, but again, it's his grieving process. It's his album. I'm not going to really say, oh, this album is better like this, but there might be a way that I think as someone hearing it for the first time, I would understand it better if it was in a different way. And if there's anyone watching this who is religious, who would like to share some more details about what this song is about or any of the other songs on this album, any of the religious references, feel free to. Or if you actually know any of the non-religious references I just didn't talk about, you can also leave that too. I'm not making you just be a spokesperson for your religion. You can talk about Sufjan in all aspects. Track number 11, last track on this album, Blue Bucket of Gold. Oh, he's counting us in. My Blue Bucket of Gold. What is that?
Why don't you love me?
Why don't you love me? Wow, that got a deep click.
Raise your right hand.
Raising my right hand.
Want me in your life.
Tell me you want me in your life.
Raise your red flag. Touch me with lightning.
Lord, touch me with lightning. Wow, he's still not doing so hot.
Just when I want you in my life.
Just when I want you in my life. So something horrible is happening just as he wants to reconcile. Okay, probably the final shift of the album. Final mid-song shift of the album. Oh, are we just drowning in the sound? I feel the drowning. So that was a Blue Bucket of Gold, and what a way to end this album. This song is about trying to reconcile. Again, his relationship with his mother. I guess the album isn't really about Lowell all that much, in my opinion. They're just the song that he's titled in the Eugene. I think that's really it. But Blue Bucket of Gold is a really sad song about how he wants his mom in his life, and just as he wants her in his life, she passes on. Apparently, they didn't have a strong relationship for a long time. You really could have fooled me, honestly. I thought y'all were that close with how much you sing about her and how gently you sing about her in this album. But she wasn't always around for him, and then finally, when they get to a sense of perhaps reconciling, she passes on from cancer in particular, which cancer, it's the worst. It is how most of my extended family members that I was close to have passed on. It's horrible, and for all the money that we are putting into research for it, it should be cured by now. And cancer is also something that I just don't know how to reconcile with an organized faith. Not even my spirituality really fits the bill on that. Cancer is horrible, and I'm so sorry if you or someone you know is experiencing it, because it's absolutely horrible. But this song comes to an epic sonic conclusion, and apparently, I did look up the lyrics for this one. Sufjan said he really didn't know how to really close out everything, especially with this relationship, that he didn't know how he could really fully articulate. And so what he did was stop playing the music and stop singing and just let the sound overtake everything, the sounds that were bigger than him, which is a very poetic way to end. But again, there's a very devastatingly sad aspect to that. Ultimately, the song does not provide any sense of closure or hope towards the future. He seems very sad on here. I know he's done subsequent projects. This was released 7 years ago now, so I hope he's doing better. I bet his later works haven't been probably as depressing, but I can't guarantee that. And I do hope that he is doing okay in his personal life, professionally, in all senses. That he's figured out something and some sort of closure for him, even if we as listeners aren't getting that closure. With that said, we have finished this album. Wow. Y'all want to see me sad. I do not know why. I don't get it. But this album is super, super duper sad. And I guess it's good for me to hear it tonight, because I've been in a very frustrated mood about certain things, and they're about very, very petty things, like super petty things. And I think one way to get me out of that very angry mood is to get me into a very sad mood, and then I guess I'll ultimately get back to a normal, generally positive mood soon, unless this takes me into an episode, in which case, well, at least we maybe foresaw it coming. I think Sufjan does an excellent job of detailing his relationship with his mother and his stepfather as well. all the captions about it make it sound like it's equal parts talking about his mom and his stepfather, which I didn't think was ever going to be the case. I thought it was definitely going to be more about his mom because that's the loss that he's enduring. But I'm still surprised that really only fleeting mentions. I feel like it's 2 songs on this album, and those 2 songs, neither are fully about him. But I do think that he overall does tell a very detailed portrait of how he's feeling. He has very great images. I feel like I'm there when things are happening, or watching a movie at least. It feels very vivid, for better or for worse, because that's how you're going to start crying more, is knowing the details of what's going on. And yeah, like, I don't have words for this. Am I supposed to have a ton of words for this? It's Carrie and Lowell. You probably knew what reaction you were going to get out of this. I'll say in terms of songs I like more than others, I don't feel comfortable doing the generally positive, the top tier, other faves, and not really my thing. Because if I'm honest, I'm probably not going to listen to much of this album regularly. I just don't see why I would. Maybe towards the beginning, the stuff that isn't so on the nose, I could see that happening. I could listen to the part of Every Road Has an End. Like, I can listen to that and probably be okay. But post Eugene, when we start to get into 4th of July, I don't really want to listen to that unless I'm really wanting to get into my feels. So this will definitely be more of a specialty project for me rather than a project I want to listen to regularly. I am, however, more okay with talking about songs I like more than others on this project rather than A Crow Looked at Me, for example, where I didn't even say songs I liked at all because it was just too sad and too in the moment. And I think for this one, I can do that. So what I'm going to do is right now I'm going to put on the side the list from songs I like the most to songs I like the least. I also don't remember how I filmed the intro normally on these, because I will say if you like this video, I guess you like it. I don't know. If you want to see me sad more, like this video. If you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later. I don't think I can feel ethical about putting my club banger at the end of this, so instead we'll play something more mellow. But again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.